So this is a video I had planned to publish several weeks ago, and I hesitated because my position is still evolving. So this represents where I was at a few weeks ago. There are some things I say here that I'm already looking at just a little differently, but I wanted to upload this anyway because I think a lot of my thoughts here are valid. I'll have more to say on these topics in the near future. So recently I announced my intention to abandon platforms such as YouTube and Facebook, which are violating our right to free speech, suppressing and silencing opposing viewpoints, and attempting to control the public discourse by limiting the range of allowable opinions. I wanted to clarify my position and explain my decision and what it means for my channel going forward. It's possible that I may change my mind, and I'm open to hearing what you have to say in the comments, but these are my thoughts as of this moment. First of all, at least as of now, I have no plans to delete my YouTube channel. Unless YouTube removes my channel, it will remain up, and all of my videos which haven't been restricted or removed will continue to be available. If you've subscribed, there's no need to unsubscribe, because it's possible that I'll come back to YouTube if it becomes a platform for free speech again. But I think there are only two ways that will happen. The first way would be if new laws are passed protecting free speech online and putting an end to big tech censorship. The second way would be if enough people refuse to accept the way things are going and leave the platform. If enough people stop using YouTube and Facebook, they will become less attractive to advertisers, and they will lose money. If they see that users are leaving these platforms in droves and choosing to use alternative platforms that are more free, they may be forced to reconsider their tyrannical policies. Because I generally prefer free market forces over government regulations, I tend to favor the second approach to resisting big tech censorship. We have the power. We have a choice. If we choose to continue using YouTube and Facebook, even though they're placing more and more restrictions on what we're allowed to say and what we're allowed to see and hear, they will keep doing what they're doing. And we're going to see this spread. If we choose to stop using these platforms and use other platforms that are more free, the market will respond to consumer demand. I've already deactivated my Facebook page. It got to the point where there was no point in even being on Facebook. Because of shadow banning, most of my posts were only reaching a small handful of people, and quite a few of my posts were removed for violating community guidelines. And violating community guidelines basically just means saying anything that goes against the narrative they're trying to push. And on the other end, I wasn't able to see what a lot of my friends were posting because they were being shadow banned too, and their posts weren't showing up in my feed, and a lot of them were being removed. And we're not talking about anything that would qualify as actual hate speech. I say some controversial things that some people may be offended by, because a lot of people are offended by the truth. A lot of people are offended by facts. But I'm certainly not someone who promotes hate or who supports initiating violence against anyone. Of course, if you believe that people who commit certain crimes, such as treason, deserve the death penalty, or if you recognize that a certain level of force is necessary in order to resist certain aggressive actions on the part of certain individuals or groups, that is most certainly not the same as promoting hatred or violence against individuals simply because of their race or religion. And exposing the lies of the mainstream media is certainly not the same as spreading baseless conspiracy theories. For the last couple of years, the mainstream media has been spreading the baseless Russian collusion conspiracy theory. The official version of what happened on 9/11 is a conspiracy theory. The feminist myth of the patriarchy is a conspiracy theory. Cultural Marxism and the myth of institutional racism and white privilege is a conspiracy theory. I've come to believe that certain things we've been taught about what happened during the Second World War is nothing more than a conspiracy theory. Anyone who says that there has never been any sort of conspiracy of any kind is insane. It's impossible to believe that conspiracies don't exist. If you believe that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia to steal a US election and put a puppet of the Kremlin in the White House, then you believe there was a conspiracy theory. You are a conspiracy theorist. And if, on the other hand, you believe that there was no collusion, then you have to accept the fact that there was a conspiracy to frame Trump for crimes he didn't commit and that never happened. In other words, you either believe Trump was involved in a conspiracy, or you believe Hillary and the Obama administration were involved in a conspiracy. You can't deny both. Either one or the other is necessarily true. And so everyone is a conspiracy theorist. The only question is which conspiracy theories are true and which ones are false. Either a group of Muslim extremists were involved in a conspiracy to hijack planes and fly them into the Twin Towers, or else there was a larger group of conspirators, which may have included traitors within our own government and foreign nationals from other governments. Either way, it's undeniable that there was a conspiracy. The question is who was actually involved in the conspiracy and what actually happened. Any answer given to those questions is a theory, and we should accept the theory that offers the best explanation for all of the facts and the one which is best supported by the available evidence. And any time you're not allowed to question the official story, you should immediately be suspicious of the mainstream story. This is especially true if it's actually a crime to question the official story, like it is with a certain event that I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube. And it seems that there's one particular group that I'm especially not supposed to talk about. If Will Smith and others notice that there are a lot of white people at the Oscars or winning awards at the Oscars, he's not accused of being anti-white. But if someone makes the even more obvious observation that there's another very specific group that seems to be vastly overrepresented at the Oscars, or in Hollywood in general, that person will definitely be called anti-whatever. So clearly, YouTube and Facebook are not concerned with hate speech or racism in general. They're not concerned with fake news or conspiracy theories in general. It's totally allowed to accuse white people as a group of all sorts of things. But certain groups are sheltered from any accusations, no matter how much evidence is offered to prove those accusations. It's totally fine to spread certain fake news stories and conspiracy theories, but you're not allowed to present any arguments or evidence that challenges that narrative or exposes it as a lie. But if you try to spread alternative narratives, which are actually supported by mountains of evidence, you're shadow banned. Your videos are restricted or deleted, and you may be banned from the platform and silenced completely. So my question is, what value is there in being on such a platform? I don't just mean for content creators, I mean for anyone. Obviously, if you're a content creator, there isn't much value in being on a platform where there are extreme restrictions on what you're allowed to say. The whole point of publishing content on a platform is to get your message across to an audience and to get certain facts and information out there. If you're not allowed to say what you have to say on a particular platform, then what value does that platform have for you? It doesn't matter how many users there are on that platform. Sure, maybe you can reach a large audience, but you're not allowed to communicate your message. So what good is it to have a large audience? Wouldn't it be better to have a smaller audience, but to actually have the freedom to say what you have to say to them? But also, if you're on these platforms to consume content, or to hear different points of view, or to get information, or to compare different arguments and decide what to believe for yourself, is there any value in being on a platform that ranks your search results so that you're only shown content that they want you to see? Is there any value in being on a platform that only suggests videos to you that support the narrative that the censors want you to accept? Is there any value in being on a platform that promotes lies and keeps the truth hidden from you? So what if it's the biggest platform? You're offered a massive amount of content, but only content that falls within a certain range of allowable opinion. Do you want to be on a platform that decides what you're allowed to see and hear and what you're not? Or do you want to be able to decide for yourself? If you've subscribed to my channel, or if you've been following me on YouTube for a while, I assume you like my content, and you're interested in hearing what I have to say, whether you always agree with me or not. And if you don't, that's fine. I respect your right to disagree with me. I only ask you to consider my arguments with an open mind. So my next question is, would you rather listen to me on a platform that severely limits what I'm allowed to say and how much truth I'm allowed to expose? Or would you rather listen to me on a platform where I don't have to hold back? And of course, it's not all about me. A platform where I'm allowed to tell the whole truth as I see it is also going to be a platform where other content creators are free to tell the whole truth as they see it. Since I created my channel on BitChute, I've been exploring a lot of content on that platform. Most of the same stuff I can find on YouTube, I can find on there too. But I also find a lot of videos that have been banned from YouTube. And a lot of it is really good information that I haven't heard anywhere else. And I'm basically a full-time researcher at this point. I've made some personal sacrifices in order to be able to spend 8 hours or more every day reading books, listening to lectures and debates, watching documentaries, and just devouring as much information as I can, and searching for connections, patterns, and a more complete synthesis and a more complex understanding of certain questions that are of interest to me. And even though I'm mainly going to be focused on writing a book over the next year, I'm definitely going to be publishing more videos too. But because of the nature of some of the topics I'm pursuing, YouTube is not going to be the right platform for me to publish on. That's why I'm asking everyone who's been following my channel here on YouTube to follow me on BitChute. And again, that doesn't mean I'm deleting my YouTube channel. It doesn't mean I'm never going to publish on here again. But for right now, like I said, I just don't see the value in a platform that is so engaged in censorship and restricting what people are allowed to publish and what people are allowed to watch. BitChute is a much better platform at the moment for me as a content producer. And I hope I've persuaded you that it's a better platform for regular users too, whether they're producing content or just consuming content. It's also a matter of principle and a matter of conscience. The question I've been asking myself is whether I want to support a platform that is violating our freedom of speech and our freedom of thought. And I want to challenge you with that question as well. I encourage you to stop using social media platforms like YouTube and Facebook that are engaged in this sort of tyrannical behavior, and to use alternative platforms that support freedom of speech and freedom of thought. I am primarily using BitChute.com and Minds.com. I'll put my links in the description box below so you can follow me there. A few people have told me they think I should stay on YouTube and Facebook and fight. For a while I thought that way too. But what does that even mean? The search algorithms are rigged against you. unless you're publishing the kind of content they want to promote. They're not going to recommend your videos to new viewers, so it's almost impossible to build your audience. And they can restrict or delete your videos at any time, for any reason, with no warning or explanation. And they can remove your whole channel at any time, with no warning or explanation. There isn't really anything you can do to fight any of that. The only thing we can really do to fight it is to stop using these platforms and support other platforms that offer much better terms of service and that aren't so desperate to try to control what we're allowed to say, hear, and think. That is how we fight back. Of course, you can write your congressperson or wait for Trump to do something about it, but this is what we can do right now. As long as we continue to use these platforms, we are sending the message that we're willing to tolerate and accept censorship and the restriction of information. If we walk away, we're sending a different message. Let me be clear. I'm not saying we should walk away as a kind of protest to get these platforms to change. I don't care if they change or not. If they do, maybe I'll use them again. But if they don't, that's fine. I want them to fail. I want them to be replaced by competing platforms. I want these other platforms to grow. Even if the government steps in and regulates YouTube and Facebook, I'd rather use platforms that are free from government regulation. Do you really want the government regulating and controlling social media? I don't. It's the same old problem, reaction, solution tactic. Problem. Big tech monopolies are censoring and restricting free speech. Reaction. We demand that the government steps in and protects us. Solution. The government takes control of the internet. This is what they want. This is what all these shills on YouTube are calling for. The whole thing is manufactured. A lot of so-called conservatives and Trump supporters are complaining that Trump isn't doing enough to defend his supporters on social media. Maybe they should be glad Trump isn't playing into this whole thing. And Facebook was a government project from the start. It's LifeLog. It's part of DARPA. Google LifeLog and DARPA. Actually, don't Google it. Don't use Google. Use another search engine like DuckDuckGo. More government isn't the answer. Just walk away. Stop using these platforms. That's the answer. And that's really all I've got to say on this topic for now. Follow me on BitChute and Minds. Whoever else you follow on YouTube or Facebook, follow them there too. They're probably already on there. If they're not, tell them they need to make the switch. That's all I've really got to say on this topic for now. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.